and welcome to NDTV Profit. I am your host Varsha Chandanani. Narayana Health is in focus today. Company posted its Q4 FY24 results, wherein if you see, revenue was up almost 5%, while EBITDA was up 7%. EBITDA margins were 23% versus 22.6% last year, while net profit was up 10%. Now, to speak more on numbers, I am here joined by Sandhya, who is CFO of Narayana Health. Welcome to the show, Sandhya.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
So, Sandhya, if you see, just give us a review about how was your quarter, what stood out well for you, what were the disappointments?
Thank you. The margin story for us, I think, was quite powerful. We were able to further expand margins both quarter on quarter and for the full year. It has come on the back of our investments in efficiency, technology, and throughput. And it has also come on the back of improvement in both specialty and payer mix. So broadly, I think margin is a very positive story. Now, as far as the revenue story is concerned, there is a context here that the Q4 of FY23 had a significant upside because of the COVID rush, and there was still that flow through of that COVID backlog which was coming through. So we're coming off a high base. We have also been internally going through a certain level of infrastructure transformation where we are configuring beds into private and semi-private, which means it's reduced to some extent our bed availability at peak admission times. Also, like we commented last time, we've worked on a payer segment, which has helped us improve our average revenue per patient. So if you look at our IPRPP, it's our highest ever at 1.31 lakh. So there we've seen some volume rationalization, but the benefit has come. So all of this put together, I think compared to our previous quarters and what we've been able to demonstrate, I think volumes come in slightly lower. But then from a margin point of view, I think we've come in reasonably well.
Actually, Sandhya, I just wanted to ask you that, as you rightly said, we saw a single-digit growth, Q4 being the good quarter for us. Now, in past, we have always seen double-digit growth when, considering March quarter. Now, what are you, what is your target going forward? Can we go back to double-digit growth?
While we don't want to guide, we don't give guidances. There is a certain factor. A lot of the very high double-digit growth that the industry has seen is a factor of some of the flow-through and backlog demand that came from COVID. And there was some amount of also health-seeking behaviors that we were able to see, and all of it combined. The industry was seeing a significant upside. Now, in the longer term, if one were to take an outlook, definitely our industry will continue to see a good upside because we as a country are very, very heavily underserved in terms of healthcare needs. The demand is there, but in the short term, there may be some moderation in terms of demand for a few reasons. One is that a lot of capacities are coming up for hospitals over the next 2-3 years. So for some time, there may be a slightly higher capacity and the demand will catch up. So that is one factor which will come to play. The second factor which will come to play is that there is a certain high base that all hospitals are having. So therefore, like I was just explaining the Q4 story earlier, there is a certain high base on which we are growing, and therefore there is going to be some moderation that's going to come on there. And finally, capacities are coming live at different points in time for different hospitals. Like our capacities, the big chunk will come online a few years from now when all our constructions are over. So until that next set of capacities come up, the growth will be more organic, driven by throughput, driven by efficiency, driven by realization. And therefore, that organic trend we will see. So in summary, I would say that we would still see a reasonable growth in the sector in the medium term and a meaningful growth in the sector over the long term. However, we cannot simply extrapolate based on the past.
Okay, point taken. And also last quarter we did see India growth, muted India growth. How was India business, how well did India business did this quarter?
For FY25 Q1, we are not guiding.
No,
I think
for Q4.
so. Yes. So Q4 India business quarter on quarter we grew about 7.9%, and year on year we grew about close to 10%. So that's the kind of number we saw for the India business.
Also, if I look to your Cayman Island, RPOB, if you see, there's a kind of dropped by around 4.5% in Cayman. So, could you explain what's happening there and what are your plans in Cayman Island?
Yes, actually, the thing with Cayman is that it's a little completely ulta of India kind of situation where the volume is small and the realizations are slightly bigger. So then what happens is that if some 2-3 procedures, very high, some procedures are very high value procedures. Sometimes if there is a fluctuation of a few procedures moving between quarters or not happening in one quarter, not happening in another quarter, it looks as though there is a decline. But that's not really true. Actually, the way we are seeing the Cayman business, we are able to meet our own internal aspirations in terms of the business growth outcomes. We are able to serve the society quite efficiently, and we are seeing healthy cash flows. Now, our new facility will come up in Cayman in Q2 of this year. And as our new facility scales up, we will start seeing the next point of inflection and growth in terms of how Cayman will perform. So our outlook for Cayman is possible.
Also, you're going to raise up to 1,200 crore via debt. Where you going to use this money?
Absolutely. So we've guided about 1,700 crores of capex for FY25. And this is going to be a mix of some amount of this capex is going to run capex, so new machinery, replacement of existing equipment, etc. Some of it is to close the last part of the Cayman capex. There is still some small portion remaining there which we will complete, but the rest will completely go into expansion. We have already acquired 2 new land parcels, and we already have land in our existing Health City campus, and we have started our build effort in all of these locations. So therefore, you will see that we will be investing and borrowing to invest in terms of capacity over the next few years.
Also, my last question before I let you go, I wanted to know about the insurance business, when it's gonna, contribute to top line, and what are your plans when it comes to insurance business?
Sure. So we are in that really the last stage of all the procedural compliances that are required to be able to launch an insurance policy. So we will be able to launch our first insurance policy very soon. We will first start small because it's a new business for us. We have to learn the way the model will operate. So I don't think in FY25 you will see a meaningful chunk of revenue coming in from the insurance business. But eventually, as we build and scale this model, the insurance business will also start contributing to our overall numbers in a meaningful way.
All right, that's really great. Thank you so much, Sandhya, for answering our questions, and all the best for your business.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.